After watching countless of videos on the topic of law of assumption, the I am not technique by Neville Goddard, and how you can actually manifest what you want, well, in this video, it's time right now to understand the metaphysics of this technique so that you can know how it works in your life. And when you are able to understand the metaphysics, well, it's crazy how fast you'll find it to work. So my friend, this is my intention for you in this video. So if you want to know how the I am not technique by Neville Goddard works, stay with me until the end and I'm sure you will find it really valuable. So that being the case, let's directly begin with the video. And I just want to ask you this one question, which will in a way start up our contemplation so that you can get the answer from this question by your own experience watching this video. And this question is, have you ever experienced getting what you want when you give up on it, when you finally give up on it? Like, have you had these experiences before when you've had a desire, maybe you've had a desire for a new job, or maybe you've had a desire for attracting a relationship in your life, and you are thinking so much about it, you are trying to visualize it, you are trying to find the ways of what you need to do to get there, and you are feeling like all this resistance was coming up, all these feelings of frustration, of it's like I am not worth it to have this, like all these feelings were coming up, and at the end you felt so frustrated that part of you just decided to give it all up, and it was like, fuck that. It's like, no, doesn't matter, I don't want this anymore. And it was like, after you came to this moment, days later, what you wanted manifested. Have you had this experience in your life? I'm pretty sure you had. And if you haven't, like, well, this is something that if you're watching this video, it's about to happen because you understand how this concept works. And many people talk about it, like Neville Goddard talks about it when you, like, this is the I am not technique, when you actually affirm to yourself that you don't need what you want. Alan Watts talks about it. He calls it the backwards wall. When you give up on your desire, when you accept that it's like, I don't need what I want, I get it. It's like, when I don't need it, I already have it. And so let me also give you an example of my life, of how I first understood this principle. Because I've got in front of this principle from my childhood years when I was like just giving, I found this strange idea in my mind. I noticed this pattern that when I was wanting the opposite of what I actually wanted, it was happening. But when I was wanting what I wanted, it wasn't happening. I had no clue how this worked, but like many years later, when I got into this information of Neville Goddard, manifestation, metaphysics, so on and so forth, I actually started grasping how it operates. And it's like, I'll just share with you a story to illustrate this principle, and then we will dive deep into it so that you can understand it yourself and learn how to apply it in your life finally. Because when you understand the metaphysics of it, it makes sense. It's like you can apply it. It's not that hard to apply it anymore. So I've had, like 2 years ago, I've had this dream of transitioning from my freelance copywriting business to actually starting a coaching and consulting business. I want this to be my full-time job in a way. But even though I was in marketing, even though I was in copywriting, I was still feeling like, I was still feeling this to be really hard. I was feeling a lot of resistance. And I was reading books, I was talking to friends who were in business. I was like trying to find the strategy of what I needed to do to get there, to actually have my coaching business and start onboarding clients. And I remember there were like 3 months of this intense resistance when I was just wanting it and I was desiring it so much. And I was like trying to create a strategy of what I need to do. And it was so frustrating, but because like the whole strategy felt so overwhelming and there were so many things I didn't know. And it was like a huge journey of what I had to do. And I was procrastinating, I was self-sabotaging myself. And even though I was like desiring it so much, trying to assume the feeling of my wish fulfilled, it wasn't happening because I was being attached to the end result and I was seeing myself being here when I don't have it, and my awareness was clouded by the feeling of not having what I wanted in the future. So this is why there was so much resistance in that process. And it was like, after these 3 months of researching, of trying to learn what strategy I need to work on to start my coaching business, at some point, at the end of it, I was like, I just decided to get into a meditation, like to just stay with myself and actually start feeling why I want this. This was the question I wanted to contemplate. It was like, okay, I want this so much, I'm not doing almost anything to get there. I'm like trying to prepare, but I'm not doing the required actions. Nothing is happening, so let me just see why I want it. And maybe if I see why I want it, then I'll be able to like commit, or like, I don't know, I just had this intuitive idea of like contemplating why I want this coaching business in the first place. And in this contemplation, I was about to give up from it. I was about to give up from that dream, from this hopeful desire that it will eventually happen. And so I remember myself getting into the meditation and like asking myself, why do I really want it? And like, if I want it so much, why it's not happening? Why? What stands in the way? What is sabotaging me? What is like the resistance that's being there? And like, because if I want it so much, and if it's not happening, and I'm suffering because of that, like, well, it might be better that I give up on that desire. And I was actually a little scared of giving up on it, but it was, well, maybe it's better. Maybe if I give up on it, then I will know how to do it. And it was like I decided to take this leap of faith in my meditative experience. And in that contemplation, okay, why do I want this coaching business? Why it's not happening? What stands in the way? And like through this contemplation, through my desire to give it up, all the resistance start coming up. And I found myself to have a fear of rejection. I found myself that if I were to run Facebook ads for like a product that I wanted to launch, I would be really scared of all the people who would like comment negatively under my ads, and like they would ridicule me, they would offend me somehow. And I was really afraid of being rejected. I was really afraid of my dream being rejected. And this fear was standing in my way. And while I was telling myself that I'm committed to this desire, always feeling in resistance because I wasn't really embodying it, I was just hoping for it, which is like, there is huge difference. And I'll get to that in a moment, just to finish with the story. It was like, when my mind was attached to the desire in the future and that I needed to do something to get there, I wasn't able to see the fears that were stopping me. And in this meditative practice, finally I was able to see, okay, I had this huge fear of rejection standing in the way. I had this huge fear of, okay, when I actually make a presentation and sell this product at the end of it, well, because this was a strategy I was trying to develop. And it was like, when I actually make the offer for this product, well, what if nobody buys it? What if there are, let's say, 15 people watching me live, and like when I make the offer and like I ask who wants to join, and like there is silence, nobody says anything. And I was terrified of this feeling. So it was only after I was able to let go of my desire, to accept the fact that it might not happen, that I was able to see all those resistances coming up and allow myself to experience them. And so it was like, after allowing myself to experience the opposite of what I want, so it was rejection, I was allowing myself to experience the rejection, I was allowing myself to experience the lack of interest to what I was about to offer, and I was imagining this feeling of, well, what if I make this offer and nobody joins in this strategy that I created, which I wasn't committing on it, I was doing nothing about it. And I allowed all those feelings to come up, like all those feelings of resistance. And once I was able to allow them to come up and accept them for what they are, then letting go of them was natural. And then it was like, I was in my mind, it was like, well, it doesn't matter if it happens or not. I'm doing this because I feel excited about it. I'm inspired about it. Whether it happens or it doesn't happen, this isn't of my interest anymore, because the resistance wasn't there anymore. So it was like, the moment I gave up on my desire, was the exact moment I was able to see the resistance that was sabotaging me and stopping me. And once I was able to let go of that resistance, I was actually able to commit of the feeling of my desire already being fulfilled. So, and after doing that, I remember the next day after this meditation, I intuitively just like got a book from my bookshelf, yeah, I think it's bookshelf, and it was this marketing book that I wasn't reading, but it was like, I haven't read, but I just went into the contents of it, found this specific chapter that I felt intuitively attracted it to, like, then I read this chapter showed me exactly what I needed to do, and I felt this intense feeling of inspiration. It was like, okay, it's like, since there were no resistance anymore, since I was able to let go of my desire, it was like, I just need to do that. I know that this is what I have, this is what is part of my desire already being fulfilled. And then I read this chapter, it gave me the exact strategy I needed. Then the next day I went to like speak to a friend. Naturally, it wasn't with this intention. I was just there to go and meet him. And I shared to him this exciting idea. I read this in this book and that I'm excited to try it out. And he told me, no, you shouldn't do that. There is more efficient way of doing it. It's like he basically told me that instead of doing a pre-recorded like webinar training where you sell your offer, which is what I was thinking about, he told me you should do it live, because doing it live, it's like you'll be able to connect with the people. And then if you're able to connect with the people, it's like even if nobody buys your offer at the end, which is what I was able to accept through that meditation, well, you know why. You'll be able to connect, to communicate with them, to understand them. And it felt really scary at first, but at the same time, there was again this feeling of excitement coming up. So, and it was overwhelming my experience. And I knew this to be right, because before that, I knew this to be the correct path. Because before that, while assuming the feeling of my wish fulfilled, these were the exact feelings I wanted to experience. And now that I gave up on them through this meditation, through this like letting go exercise, because it was too overwhelming, I actually started embodying the feeling of my wishes fulfilled. And then it's like, after this meeting with my friend, in 30 days, I had my coaching business. I had my first 5 high ticket clients. I've delivered live training to 15 people who joined it. And it was like, it was already the case. It was already done. Everything was so synchronistic and intuitive. But before I was able to let go of my desire, I was in 3 months of resistance, thinking how I can do it, and nothing was happening. So this is how this principle works. And since then, I've applied this principle for many people I've worked with, but it's the same. It's like, when you desire something so much, you charge it with this energy, with this intention that it's something really important, that you want it so much, that you want it so much also. And like, it's almost as if this desire that you're trying to conjure up from yourself, from within yourself, assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, it is there so that it can help you experience the opposite feelings of what your desire being fulfilled would look like. And if you're able to experience the opposite feelings of what your desire being fulfilled would look like, then the resistance is no more there. You're able to experience it and to let it go. And then it clears up space so that this space gets like, gets filled with the feeling of your wish already being fulfilled. And so, can you see how this works now? Now, if we get into because this was the story to just show you like an illustration of what would happen if you were to give up from your desire so that you are inspired to try it out. But now if we look at a little bit of the metaphysics behind it, where it's like, needing nothing manifests everything. I needed to reach this state of not needing my desire to be fulfilled and manifested before I was able to commit to it and see it manifest itself in 30 days. So it's like, when you need something, the feeling of neediness, I need something, it assumes that you don't have it. But when you need nothing, this already manifests what you want in a way that you wouldn't be able to see clearly. Like you won't know this way from the beginning. You only know it while going down the way, so while going down the path of manifestation. Because if you know it beforehand, this is your thinking mind in resistance who is knowing how you need to do what you need to do, and it's again needing to do it. So it's like, in all cases, the strategy that your mind develops will be harder than what you actually do to manifest what you want. So this is why giving up from your desire actually helps you manifest it. And another thing to understand here is the more you need to do something, the less you're embodying the state of your wish already being fulfilled. So the more you need it, the more you need a strategy, the more you need the safety of a strategy, the encouragement that somebody would give you, the feeling of worthiness, somebody needs to tell you that you're worthy of that. The more you need those feelings, the more you need to do something, you think that you have to do something to manifest your desire, the less you're in the state of it already being manifested. Does it make sense? Let me know if it makes sense down in the comments, because if you're able to understand that, you'll see how the I am not technique works. It's like, okay, you're assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, but at some point, once you start creating so much resistance, now it's time to let go of it. So it's like time to accept the fact, I am good either way. I can allow myself to feel fulfilled even if my desire doesn't manifest. I am already whole, I am complete. I don't need what I want to feel fulfilled. And if you affirm that to yourself, once you have conjured up all this desire and all the resistance that comes from the desire, then when you say that to yourself, I am okay, it doesn't need to happen, then all this resistance just diffuses. And once it diffuses, it's like, okay, the excitement can come up and it can help you intuitively act upon it without thinking a lot. So it's like the less you need to do something, the more inspired you feel to act from the conviction of your wish already being fulfilled. So the less need you have, that's why you need to give up your need. That's why you use the I am not technique. It's like, okay, I'm going to ask you this question now, and please, if this is important for you, take a moment to contemplate this question. What would it mean for you if you were to give up from your wish? If you needed to accept the hypothetical situation in which your wish didn't manifest, what would that mean for you? How would you feel? And are you able to accept those feelings? Are you able to allow them to come up and let them go? Because if you do that, well, then you naturally feel inspired to act from the conviction of your wish already being fulfilled. You wouldn't need the attachment to your desire anymore so that you feel secure that it will manifest. You feel the security and satisfaction of its manifestation, the conviction of it already being manifested, because you are not attached to that, to the strategy that your mind creates automatically of how to get there. So if you let go of the strategy, if you let go of the desire at the end, I am not technique, this is how it works ultimately, then you will find yourself naturally inspired to, naturally and intuitively inspired to act from the desire, from the feeling of your desire already being fulfilled. It's like you're coming from it, it's already a fact, and from this feeling you naturally get these inspiring ideas, and one after the other they'll you of course you have to act on them, but the acting on them will be natural because the resistance isn't there anymore. So it's there is just this feeling of inspiration that you need to follow to get there, and you don't need to know the way of how you can get there. You just need to know that the feeling is there and the feelings guide you. The ideas on which you act, they will come from that feeling. They will not come from the resistance to that feeling, which is again the biggest difference here. And that's why you need to let go of the desire first. And this is how the I am not technique works. So Let me know if it makes sense now already and if you're willing to try it out, because if that's the case, well, my friend, I promise you, when you let go of your desire, this works so fast. It's scary. It's scary because you see how it's already being manifested. You're already in the process of manifesting it once you let it go. So it's like when you let go wanting it, you see how you're already in the process of manifesting it. And this is what makes it a little bit scary. But this feeling of it being scary will naturally transform into inspiration, which will drive you to act from the feeling of satisfaction of your wish already being fulfilled. So this was the topic, my friend. I hope you found it useful. I hope it gave you these inspiring ideas of how it's safe to let go from your desire and inspire you to do it, because this is how you practice Neville Goddard's teaching. This is how you live your life based on the law of assumption. It's so easy. It's not so easy. It's easy, but it's not simple, because it's paradoxical again. Nobody told us that by giving up on our desires, we can actually experience them. So I know it's a paradox, but give it a try and you will see it for yourself. This was everything I wanted to share in this video. Like it if you liked it, comment down below to let me know your experience with the I am not technique, and subscribe to this channel, because in this channel we'll talk everything about metaphysics, about manifestation, about conscious relationships, about polarity, like masculine and feminine energy, and about letting go, and about David Hawkins also. So if you find these topics interesting, well, subscribe to this channel and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. Bye bye for now.